Alright, welcome back, Math 20-3. Today's lesson involves credit cards and store promotion. As you may notice, previous lessons talk about choosing an account, and we learn about investment or borrowing, and two systems for those. For example, simple interest was one of the method of how you borrow money or invest, or compound interest, which talk about multiple terms and checkpoint between, which is known as a compound period. So today's lesson goes other type of account, if you will, like credit card account, or we're gonna get to store promotion too. I'm kind of wondering whether I should divide this lesson into 3 different portions or 2 portions. Let's see how it goes. So, let's talk about working with credit cards first. First thing first, in this section, you will learn about how credit card work. Basically, credit card. The simplest way that I can think of, it is borrowing money. For any type of payments or expenses. Like you buy something from the store, you buy something from online, Amazon, those kind of situation. Credit card, how can I say? If you use credit card or if you borrow money to do that and do not pay off each month, the financial charge is probably much higher. And in order to understand that, think about this way. Credit cards, you borrow money whenever you have a transaction. That means you gotta pay off, right? And number 2 is you basically pay off. And that can be bi-weekly or monthly. Generally, people go monthly payments, something like that. And then you get credit cards bill, those kind of thing. Nowadays, online banking, you can pay off whenever you want. And whenever you pay it off successfully, your credit goes up. That means you have more trust to your bank in quantifying way. And whenever you have higher credit, that means you can get more loan for mortgages, those kind of situation. But of course, you cannot ignore what I like to call it as a financial charge. Finance charge is basically the total amount of interest paid to the borrower as a sum of money. And that calculation is what we need to do today. So let's do a quick example. Example number 1. It is on page 305 of your workbook. But you know my style. Use blank pieces of paper and follow through the step-by-step first. Sheng Li has a $4,384.76 unpaid balance on his credit card that charges an interest rate of 19.50% per annum. The payment was due on March 23rd. So, here's the thing. In his credit card charge, basically the unpaid balance was turned out to be $4,384.76. That should have been paid, but it was overdue. It passed the time. Then there will be interest charge. But interest, let's think about percentage first, was 19.50% of an interest. That means you need to pay additionally because you couldn't pay it back to that time. So now let's talk about a little bit of a condition. A, his minimum payment is $50 or 10% of the outstanding balance, whichever is more. What is the minimum he must pay? So minimum pay he has. And by the way, ladies and gents, it's not a good idea to go to this situation. You may want to pay off as soon as you can, as less due as you can, because those can give you really good credit as a long term. But in any case, he either paid $50 as that or 10% of balance, the outstanding balance. So A's talk about what minimum he must pay, whichever is more. So it's a consumer part of thinking. First thing first, $50 is $50. That's check. What about 10% method? Well, we have 384.76 multiplied by 10% in a decimal format, 0.10, which is going to give you the idea how much that is. Take out your calculator. 4,384.76 multiplied by 0.10. As you may see, enter. I have $438.48. And basically, ladies and gents, that is the amount of 10%. Now, looking at the workbook, it seems like they did some kind of mistake in here. His minimum payment probably means 1.0%. If you look at the question and solution in the workbook, you may notice that, you know what, $43, that's impossible unless the value is 0.010%. So you know what? I am going to change this condition a little bit. Imagine it's 1%, folks, then 0.010. Then you will have whatever the workbook answer that is posted in here. It's quite odd. Seems like the paper is not reviewed before they actually do final printing. But in any case, $43.85. When it comes to this 1% balance and $50 more, so Link's minimum payment, $50, it's a little bit better. B. What will his balance be on April 15? Now let's think about it. April 15 is already past due. Now that means we need to pay on balance plus we need to pay interest fee. So when you think about interest fee and days, we need to understand that the due date was March 23. So let's count how many days that is involved from March 23 all the way to April 15. So in March, after 23 days, you have, in March you have 31, so that's 8 days, right? March is 1, 2, 3, yeah. And actually, we should include 23 also, so it's 9 days. In April, April 1st all the way to 15, you have 15 days, which means the total days that is past due is 9 plus 15, which is 24 days. It is a good idea to find that relationship first, ladies and gentlemen. How many days that I am over, those kind of thing. Now, once you figure that out, let's go back to 19.50% interest rate. Now, interest rate, if I use my variable, was, and I'm going to convert it back to my percentage into decimal. 19.50% means 0.1950. But know the fact that this is per annum. That means this 24 days need to be converted into years. So T is 24 days out of 365 days. So 24 divided by 365 gives me about, and I'm going to use the decimal 0.0657 ... It's good idea to include that year, or just put that fraction, whatever the method you like to go through. Now, after that, we need to figure out the interest rate. So I, that is equal to, and let's use what we learned as a simple interest, PRT. P is basically our principal amount, 4,384.74, that's $1, multiply by R, 0.1950, and T, which is 0.0657, dot, dot, dot. That will give me my interest rate. So let's punch those numbers in. And for the charge, you have $56.26, something like that. So once you have that amount, and this interest rate should be the one that you have to add it to your unbalanced payments. So what I need to do after that is, there you go, A is equal to P plus I. P was 4,387.74 cents plus $56.26. That will be my final answer, which is the person need to pay $4,444 in this case. That's what it is. And that is today's lesson. Ladies and gentlemen, it seems like the class example in your workbook has quite some, how can I say, error. So please have that in your mind. So your homework for today is, please go to your workbook, page 306 and 307. I want you to give it a shot for all of the questions. There's number 1, 2, 3. Some of them have some parts, but pretty sure you can follow through.